But welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the Hasbara, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Be kind to the guys in this mess in the first place.
We're gonna put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. How's everybody doing today, chat? Let's see, what have we got over here? We've got a bunch of Sarah Hurwitz bullshit, but I thought we might start out with something relatively short. Ben Shapiro reacts to woke socialist TikToks. I can't wait, we're gonna learn some stuff.
Alrighty, folks. In the spirit of Tsar Mom...
the Soviet anthem dance mix is great.
Donnie being the new mayor-elect of New York.
I mean, the funny thing is, actually, when you do it as an instrumental, it is both the Soviet hymn and the hymn of the Russian Federation, which just took the same melody and put new words to it.
Which is a very, very depressing reality. We're now going to examine some TikTokers and see what they have to say about the advent of radical pro-jihadist socialism in New York City.
Radical pro-jihadist socialism. Okay, that just looks like Mamdani with a yarmulke on. Also, is this supposed to... Hello, Adam. How you doing? This feels like... It's like a cross between Frasier and Escape from New York.
If you encounter somebody who tries to tell you he's a socialist, like let's say your boomer parents, this is what you need to explain to them.
Shut up.
Okay, I mean, that's easy. He's a social democrat, and he's watering that down with every step.
Get out.
Mamdani is not a socialist. He's a democratic socialist.
It's so fascinating the way the word democratic works in the context of the phrase democratic socialist. Because it manages to negate not only socialist, but itself. Because it is actually, I mean, when you add the word democratic to socialism, you're talking about something that is both less socialist and as such less democratic than socialism.
Nice.
Socialist countries are like North Korea or Cuba. You know what Mamdani is? A democratic socialist. And you know what else is democratic socialist countries? Norway.
I mean, yeah, that's just, why don't you just call it social democracy then?
Sweden.
Which has actually gone whole hog neoliberal.
Now I'm going to do this shit again. Norway's a capitalist country with a welfare structure and a gigantic oil fund.
Well, yes, social democracy. So is that what he's going to do? Is he just going to be pointing out that what they're talking about is social democracy? Because... Okay, is he going to claim now that... So he acknowledges that social democracy is actually a capitalist system. Correct. I mean, no notes there. So is he going to acknowledge then that since Mamdani actually, like, at best, advocates social democracy, that he's not a radical TikTok jihadist socialist or whatever the fuck?
Sweden is a capitalist country with a welfare structure. You know how you know that? Because you can literally ask the leadership whether they're...
Well, yeah, I mean, you can just look at the fucking means of production and see who controls them. It's not hard.
a democratic socialist country.
Norway.
You're not affiliated with me.
Okay, he's like closer to the party of Copenhagen than Pyongyang.
Oh, okay. There is no... I think she means the Social Democrats in Copenhagen. But she really ought to look into them before... Because that's not a nice thing to say about him, actually. Because the Social Democrats in Denmark are fucking horrible. They've been just doing Nazi shit for ages. I mean, we're looking at... I mean, you see all this, like, horrible fast shit that Labour in Britain are now doing. Like, they're trying to enact it into law that they will shake down refugees for whatever valuables they've managed to hold on to in, in their arduous travels. That's something that they got from Denmark. In fact, so, yeah, I mean, you're gonna compare him to them? That isn't a compliment.
What democratic socialism believes in is still capitalism, but it is...
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, so she's already said your thing. Which is why, also, it's not democratic socialism.
like a really good safety net for...
No. Zoran Mamdani literally said he does not like capitalism.
Okay. But are you actually going to say... a lot of people don't like capitalism, but what they propose is actually still capitalist.
You like capitalism?
No,
Like, nobody fucking likes capital. In fact, right-wingers even acknowledge this. One interesting little example of that is, it was like 10-odd years ago, Texas, the Texas Board of Education, their specifications for textbooks are very momentous just because, nationwide, they have a lot of resonance because of the sheer number of textbooks that have to be printed out specifically to service Texas. They're such a huge market that it has a ripple effect, so it gets a lot of international, I mean, not international, but national attention. And one of the things that they decided to do at one point in, I think, the early 2010s was they wanted to get rid of the word capitalism and replace it with the free enterprise system, because they know perfectly well that the term capitalism just pulls like shit.
I have many critiques of capitalism.
The democratic socialist...
Well, okay, so what are those critiques? Maybe we could...
America, the wellspring from which he drank, says that they wish to overthrow capitalism entirely.
Do they? I mean, okay, some of them, yeah, I mean, I've noticed there's some people in the DSA perhaps who do, but that's not what the organization is doing, unfortunately.
They do believe in, like, free healthcare and free, or, like, universal at least, and universal, like, tuition. They want their, like, citizens to be taken care of.
Well, no, the point isn't universal tuition. The point is that you have the public, the public funding of, fully funded higher education so people don't have to pay tuition.
While still believing in capitalism, and that's what Mamdani's viewpoint is.
Okay, that is not Mamdani's viewpoint.
Oh, well, then let's see. You've shown him saying he has critiques of capitalism, but like lots of people do who are not actually actively advocating for its overthrow. So maybe if you've got that video, you should show us.
Made that clear over and over and over. What I love about people who are always...
Well, over and over and over. So there's not just that one clip. Okay, let's see the other clips.
About the Scandinavian welfare countries, how wonderful they are. Fine. You want to do Scandinavian welfare levels? Then, number one, you got to restrict immigration to basically...
Yeah, no, you really don't. I was so on brand that he would be using a fucking pedo meme.
And two, you also have to increase your tax rates to like 60% on people with a lower middle class income.
No, also not true.
That's the only way you can pay for this stuff.
Well, first of all, like, why would spending a huge amount of money keeping immigrants out actually help anything there? Because those people are doing work and paying tax if they come in. And why would you be taxing working class people exclusively? Why wouldn't you be taxing the people who don't pay any taxes?
if you're willing to do that, then I suppose you can try it. Also, you have to destroy all incentive for innovation. So
really, I mean, because if there's one thing that you don't really see is innovation in Scandinavia. I mean, it's not like it's not like that's where Linux comes from. It's not like they've got a huge fucking tech industry.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another political commentary that nobody asked for, but after seeing the responses after Mamdani has won New York, I think the vast majority of Americans do not understand socialism.
I mean, I would say that's pretty likely.
Whatsoever. Correct! We have been bred through our entire education to believe that socialism is this evil, bad, big government dictatorship thing.
Yes. Because it is, yes.
Well, I mean, because you're paid to tell them that.
Correct.
I mean, and it's like, it's ridiculous. Putting Cuba and the DPRK together is an interesting choice. Yes, I mean, they are, like, to some extent, internationally allied. They have friendly relations. But the way things work in Cuba and the way things work in the DPRK are actually rather different. And if we're talking about this in terms, we're going to compare it to the U.S. I mean, there is a case to be made that actually Cuba is considerably more democratic than the U.S. in a lot of respects. Like, I mean, the amount of public comment and referenda on major legislation at the national level, just for one example, like if you look at the process that passed their Families Code, the one that removes the nuclear family as the sole template for family relations and stuff like that. I mean, there is an argument to be made that actually, if anything, Cuba is more democratic than the U.S. because it doesn't take much to be more democratic than the U.S.
In reality, a simple Google search will literally prove that wrong. Socialism is simply just the concept that the good of the people, as a collective, is prioritized by the government over private ownership and private wealth.
Right.
And, no. Yeah, I mean, you're describing Keynesianism and social democracy.
Which ends with nationalization, historically.
Oh, wow, that's terrible. So, I mean, wow, like, what a fucking nightmare. You mean, so we might take away the shit that rich people have stolen from us? Sign me up.
Because if there's no limiting principle, then literally every piece of private wealth that is currently held ought to be held by, quote-unquote, the people.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good to me.
Like, for example, let's take all of the big billionaire CEOs who own the pharmaceutical industry and who have continued to stack and stack and stack and stack their wealth, making billions.
Off of public subsidies, it's worth noting.
Well, your pay, number one, stays the same, but your medication cost, your cost of living, goes up, up, and up.
Okay, that's not what's happened historically.
I mean, it's worse than what she just said, because she leaves out the part where they're basically all of the actual R&D on pharmaceuticals, like all of that funding is coming from the public sector, either from the National Institutes of Health or the like, or through the public universities, the major research universities. So these motherfuckers are getting rich off of profits from things that we paid for in our tax money a lot of the time.
Notion of the immiseration of the wage earners is a Marxist lie.
Wow, I mean, it's so weird how Marxist lies are backed up so well by existing economic statistics. I mean, 60% of the population can't even make ends meet at the most. Yeah, well, that was a few months ago that figure came out. It's probably worse now.
It was pushed by Marx when he himself was writing Das Kapital, and it turned out not to be true at all.
Oh, it turned out not to be true. Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that you can say about the working class in Marx's day, it's that they were living so well.
This lady, living in her apartment, has all the wealth and wonder of Western civilization.
All of it, really? What, because she lives in an apartment? Holy shit. Holy shit, you got... That's... Wow, the West, you're so wealthy in the West because you've got an apartment. They don't have apartments in other places.
Because of capitalism.
Wait, so the idea is that it's good that she has to rent?
Again, this idea that you have people who are living in total penury in the United States. You know, shacks works because Jeff
Well,
Bezos...
they are, and then you celebrate when they get kicked off the street and criminalized.
Bezos is rich is just economic nonsense.
You took everything from me.
Therefore,
what I love is when he gets into this. I mean, remember when he decided to be outraged over Brian Thompson getting popped, and his own comments were just cooking him. I mean, I have a feeling. Now I'm kind of curious what his own comments say, because I get the impression that actually a lot that probably if his comments also hate Brian Thompson, his comments might not be quite so rosy. No, I mean, I'm not saying that they are critical of capitalism, but they probably will be saying that maybe they're not living the wonderful, wealthy lives that he's talking about.
you're not able to get your medication anymore.
Well, I mean, the term cultural Marxism is just the new word for Judeo-Bolshevism. I mean, that's all that shit is. Which is why you can't get a good definition, because the people who use that term are using it specifically to avoid just being openly anti-Semitic.
You're not able to afford to live, okay? So in an ideal socialist government, if the government actually had the good of the people in mind, it would say, no, Mr. Big Billionaire CEO, you have enough money in one of your pockets to live a lavish, luxurious lifestyle for many lifetimes, and you don't need more. That money that you have made profiting off of poor, sick people should go back to the poor, sick people.
And who is going to generate the innovation?
Well, the people who are doing it now. Fucking billionaires who just happen to skim off the top are the ones generating the innovation.
Where do they think this money goes, by the way?
Oh, well, into the pockets of rich bastards. I mean, we know where it goes.
Billionaires take their money and then they just shovel it in a mattress somewhere and leave it there?
Yeah, basically. I mean, that is basically what happens. They just hoard it. Because the thing about $1 billion is, if you have $1 billion, you basically you're not going to be able to spend that easily. I mean, well, if you've got one, that would be relatively easy, because there are like individual things you can buy that cost like $1 billion. But I mean, when you're talking about like Bezos money, that's not money that a person can easily spend in their lifetime. So that money is just getting hoarded for the most part.
That's not what happens. It goes to a bank.
Well, yeah, that's how you hoard wealth. It generally goes to a bank.
The bank then does. It lends it out to other people who are starting businesses or taking loans. This is why liquidity in the economy leads to people being able to get better interest rates. Everyone is so ignorant.
Oh wow. Because, you see, people are so ignorant because they don't understand that when capitalists hoard their money, other capitalists benefit from it to a certain extent.
Read an Econ 101 book, seriously.
I don't understand what is so scary and so bad about literally just helping people.
Because you don't understand anything, but you pretend that you do.
I mean, well, that seems like you should have her on the show then, because that's kind of your theme.
That's why. Sleep can be your secret weapon.
Well, I mean, that's a great... That should be the Ben Shapiro slogan. Sleep can be your secret weapon, because he is definitely... He can put you to sleep.
Work. And for proof, they point to...
Flashbang.
You often hear critics of Zoran Mondani say socialism doesn't work. And for proof, they point to countries like Venezuela and Cuba, where
which is a wild claim.
Poverty, corruption, and political repression are widespread.
Actually, I mean, what's actually notable in both of those examples is how they actually lifted huge numbers of people out of poverty, and would have done quite a bit more if they weren't both being imposed. You know, if you look at Venezuela before the U.S. imposed unilateral economic warfare, so-called sanctions, on them, poverty was just shrinking rapidly. Illiteracy was being all but eradicated. I mean, you can see the same thing actually in Cuba. So those are not really good examples. And in terms of repression, if you're going to talk about repression in Latin America, neither of those countries are the worst. Like, right now, Argentina and Chile are way worse.
But did you know that about half of the European Union's 140 largest cities are led by mayors from socialist political parties?
Which tells you nothing. What he means is fucking social democrats, and most of those social democrats are fucking neoliberals. Like, is he including the Labour Party in this? Yeah, okay, these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
That includes Paris, Barcelona, and Frankfurt.
And they're doing amazing, by the way. Paris is just a burgeoning wellspring of joy. It's not falling into crime and unlivability. Now, everything is going great in these places. All of these places are great. They're just wonderful.
And if you take a look at the top of the list of countries on the 2025 World Happiness Report, many of them have long histories of socialist governance. I mean, just...
Well, I mean, if we just use that to mean social democratic, this ends up being kind of jabroni stacking. Because none of these people, I mean, these people are just liberals who don't know what socialism is, and are just talking nonsense, actually. But then so is fucking Ben Shapiro, and it sort of cancels each other out.
Let's look at Finland, which is number 1 on the list for the 8th year in a row. It had a socialist prime minister as recently as 2023.
No, a social democrat who's been imposing neoliberal reforms.
One of the 2 main political parties in the country is socialist.
Like, do you understand that just because something's on the label, that doesn't mean it's in the tin?
Okay, and then did they nationalize all the resources, or are they a capitalist country with a bunch of social welfare? There are countries that have tried to do this. Sweden tried socialism in the 70s, and it failed, and they had to walk all of it back.
Number 2, Denmark currently has a socialist prime minister.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, and you could add the word national to the front of that name.
4th on the list, Sweden. Socialists hold a majority of seats in parliament. You may be asking, why do they do so well? High levels of social support, strong trust in others and institutions, high standards of living, economic security.
I mean, I wouldn't put Sweden in there because, I mean, Sweden has actually had sort of a credibility problem because they decided to try to fuck up the pandemic response almost as badly as the US and Britain did. So the institutions have just been doing straight up eugenics for a while, just like the US and Britain.
By the way, the US is 24th on the list. Now, I'm not here to endorse Mamdani or socialism, but
Well, I mean, that's good since you don't seem to know what they mean, and you also misspelled Mamdani.
I do think if you're going to assess him and his politics using other countries where socialism has not produced a high standard of living, you should also include places where it has.
Because...
Well, I mean, except not produced like the 2 places that he listed as bad examples are places where, I mean, and I will say those are also fundamentally not socialist. I mean, Cuba comes closer, but Venezuela certainly is just social democracy. And in both cases, actually, they massively increased the living standards, except that the U.S. Decided to economically strangle them and send a whole lot of people back into poverty. So those aren't really good counterexamples. Like, I mean, what they're doing there, it's like they're looking at the current situation, they're ignoring history, and they're also ignoring what the situation was beforehand. Like, I mean, the poverty rate in Venezuela was absolutely out of control before Chavez was elected, and anti-poverty programs were really the signature of the Chavez years, and they were extremely successful and wildly popular. So yeah, they didn't have like the standard of living of, I don't know, of Helsinki or something like that, but they weren't coming from anything anywhere near there, most of the people living there. Even getting to like the standard of living of Buenos Aires would have been an improvement of the...
It didn't produce the high standard of living. Capitalism produced the high standard of living, and then...
I mean, it can produce it for some people, maybe.
And socialism redistributed some of the gains toward welfare programs. That's the...
Which increased the standard of living of the people who are actually doing the work.
The best thing you could say about socialism.
The best thing you can say about socialism, i.e. social democracy, is that it redistributes some of the profits skimmed off by capitalists and uses them to improve working class living standards. I mean, that's not a bad thing to say.
Social welfare programs, which are the safety net, are living off the back of the capitalist structure, which generates all the innovation, all of the wealth.
Well, none of the innovation and generates the wealth? Not exactly.
And all the forward momentum for any economy.
Like, I mean, all he does is just, it's just these same old fucking talking points. He literally just repeats himself over and over again. Okay, here we go. Capitalism and socialism. Oh, another one in their car. What is it with people doing these things in their car?
A simple scenario to help you understand the difference between capitalism and socialism. Imagine that somebody hired you to dig a hole for them, okay? But you do not have the means or the tool to dig the hole. In this case, it would be a shovel. So you go ahead and borrow a shovel from someone. And let's say it takes you about an hour of backbreaking labor to go ahead and dig that hole, and in the end, the customer pays you $100. In this scenario, the person who dug the hole is the working class, and the person who lent the shovel is a capitalist.
I mean, okay, like within the context of the metaphor, fine. Although I would say usually being a capitalist requires a higher standard of wealth than owning a shovel.
Okay, and the question is...
I mean, if anything, the person who hires you to dig the hole would be the capitalist.
Who is it?
But it's not a great example because that's, I mean, that person could also just be a member of the working class who has a little... who can't dig a hole themselves and has enough money to pay somebody $100.
Entitled, who gets ownership of that $100 that was created. Under capitalism, the person who lent the shovel or the private owner of the means of production being the tool that was needed to do the job, in this case, a simple shovel.
Okay, this is, I will say, the metaphor, the analogy isn't great, but this is already like a more serious attempt at explaining the difference than any of the previous people, so Ben will hate it.
Is entitled and gets ownership of the $100.
No, what are you talking about?
Well, the ownership of the means of production.
What are you talking about?
The ownership of the means of production.
It's the stupidest I ever heard in my life.
Wow, I mean, when somebody actually knows what they're talking about, he just fucking loses it.
Wrong. Under capitalism, I lend you the shovel for probably $2 because I feel like you're going to give it back to me in an hour. And you can probably find somebody else who'll give you a shovel for $3, so I will charge you $2 so that you can...
No, I mean, they don't... The shovel's fucking metaphorical, Ben. Most people are not borrowing a shovel. They're having to do the work in workplaces other people own and who then skim the profit. Like, it's a fucking analogy. Of course he's gonna take it literally. I mean, why wouldn't he?
Borrow the shovel. And then you'll make $98 for digging the hole. That's how capitalism actually works. You take a loan, you make a profit off of the use of proceeds, and then...
but it wasn't a profit.
You pay back the loan. The hell is she talking about? In what world do I lend you a shovel and I take all $100? Now, it's a
well, I mean, just look at any fucking factory.
different thing if I pay you a wage. Then you're getting paid a wage to dig the hole. So if I...
Well, yes, because the person paying the wage owns the material, is lending the equipment to the people who are doing the work. That's like, okay, this is like literally she's just doing a metaphor.
Of the company. Let's say I'm the capitalist who owns the whole digging company, and I take all the risk. I buy all the shovels.
Well, you not all the risk. You're not the one who's possibly going to get killed in an earth mover accident.
I pay you a salary, I cover your health insurance, and then I pay you a wage. I'm the one who bears the risk.
No.
Because if, as it turns out, there are not enough people to pay us for the digging of the holes, then, okay, you go find another job, but I have invested all of the time and effort into building...
Well, yes, if you've done a really, really bad job, and this is just all you have. Okay, I tire of Ben. It is so he's just very tiresome. So, we were looking a little bit at Sarah Hurwitz, the former Obama speechwriter who decided to actually just say the quiet part out loud and point out that the problem that pro-Israel propagandists are having trouble convincing people that genocide is great. I mean, she's specifically talking about how Zionists are having trouble convincing, like, the relatively younger generations of the Jewish community that genocide is such a great idea, is that people know too much. Apparently, she has not shut up since then, so I'm kind of curious what else she has had to say.
Sarah Hurwitz, this liberal Zionist, is on her book tour. I mean, looked up the name of her book.
Oh, Christ. She has a book out? That explains why she's suddenly everywhere, I guess.
It's called As a Jew, Reclaiming Our Story from Those Who Blame, Shame, and Try to Erase Us.
I roll.
Okay. Like, I would already say that title is anti-Semitic because she should not be associating her bullshit with us.
I like how blame is first. Yeah. Right. Yes, we are blaming Israel for committing.
Okay, but I want to know. I'm not really interested in their commentary. I want to see the vile shit that Sarah Horowitz is saying. Here we go.
Again, and that's nice, but like again, I'm hearing that through a wall of screaming children. It's like it's.
Oh, okay. So she did say. So she said a version of. See, I'd seen people talking about. The quote I had seen was her talking about how young Jews, when she tries to give them pro-Israel talking points, hear those talking points through what she called a wall of carnage, i.e., the reality of what Israel does and what she's justifying. And then I had seen a lot of people using a wall of dead children and quoting her as saying that. So I guess she actually, she didn't say that, she said screaming kids. But okay, so she said both of those things in different contexts. Okay, good to know anyway. So I have to correct myself on a couple of threads.
We're kind of entering a post-literate society, and if like all day long your brain is just smashed again and again by TikTok with really upsetting carnage in Gaza, then...
Well, I like that she acknowledges that the carnage is upsetting, as opposed to what, like, calming carnage?
Like, you're talking, and like, I'm sorry if this is a graphic thing to say, but like, when I'm trying to make arguments in favor, for Israel, I realize I'm talking through a wall of dead children.
Well, you're making arguments for killing the children, so maybe you should not do that.
Like, that's what people are seeing. So when I'm like, yeah, but it's 1.5 civilians for... They're just seeing...
Yeah, maybe don't justify that.
Carnage.
But that's the emotional blackmail.
Why?
Oh, got it. Yes, the emotional blackmail of pointing out the reality of what she's talking about.
Is there a wall?
I mean, fair enough, but like again, and that's nice, but like again, I'm hearing that through a wall of screaming children. It's like I think it's a harder argument than we're understanding. So I actually really strongly think that like Jewish day schools should absolutely say no child owns a smartphone until senior year.
I mean, this is just a major admission here. What she's saying is she has absolutely no idea how to deal with this propaganda environment. That the only thing she can think of is to try to keep Jewish children in ignorance, young Jews in ignorance of the reality, so that she can like shit in their brains for 18 years before they're ever exposed to the reality of what she's talking about. And let me just say, I mean, I was about 18 when I mean, this is well before the internet was, the World Wide Web did not exist yet. I mean, and I didn't really have access to it. I had a monochrome 8088 PC. Like, 18 was when I first became aware that there was something fucked up going on in Palestine, that Israel was actually doing shitty things. And it didn't actually take me long after that to realize, oh, wow, Zionism actually does kind of suck. So I don't even see how this works, but it is an admission that she, as somebody who is a professional propagandist for mass murderers, like, the Obama administration, for example, she has absolutely no idea how to get people to support this stuff, knowing what the reality is. And that is why we're seeing so many pushes towards various types of censorship. I mean, my ears were perking up. If you remember back during the early days of, like, Russiagate and stuff, there was this report on RT, this, like, Senate research report, investigation report. This is, like, 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. And what was interesting to me about it is they didn't so much focus on the really dodgy shit that RT does in terms of platforming Nazis. They focused on the fact that RT was also doing legitimate journalism, reporting about stories within the U.S. that U.S. media outlets were burying, and that was the thing that was really freaking them out, because that was divisive. And so, like, there is clearly an understanding in the ruling class that people know too much, and it has actually made it very difficult for them to be on their bullshit successfully.
Own one at all. Period. We give it to them senior year and we teach them. Like this whole not during the day. Great, nice start. No smartphone at all until senior year. Dumb phone, sure.
Like, do you think that they're not going to talk to their older siblings who, like, let's say this censorship policy is introduced. First of all, kids are actually, they tend to be pretty curious. If you suddenly say no, you're not going to be allowed to have any access to any kind of news or any information other than what we tell you until you're 18, a lot of kids are going to be like, okay, what are they trying to hide from us? And they have older siblings, they have fucking older cousins, they have people who will, you know, who are a couple of years ahead of them and actually are seeing it, and they'll be asking them, and they'll be like, oh yeah, they're trying to hide the reality from you of the fucking genocide that they're supporting. Yeah, like, this isn't going to work.
Like,
but it's the only thing that someone like her, whose whole job is to come up with ways to make the vile seem acceptable, it's the only thing she can come up with.
That we've got to, like, give our kids' brains a chance and their mental health a chance before they start getting really warped.
Okay, I mean, give their mental health a chance. Like, wow, I mean, she is just... I mean, on the one hand, she is just disgusting. On the other hand, it is just fascinating how she's just admitting that she can't come up with a way to make this acceptable. Okay, have we got any more clips from her? Just skipping ahead. Here we go.
In America.
Christians are Christianizing the Roman Empire. Who's stopping us? Those Jews who won't convert. You know, we, the communists, are bringing about the great brotherhood of man and the revolution. And who's stopping us? These capitalist Jews.
No. Like, you're talking about the communists of the early 20th century? There's a reason that actually, that the guy that she's got up there right now, and others like him, made communism synonymous with Jews, and it's because, actually, Jews, being some of the most hyper-exploited and oppressed people in Europe, were particularly receptive to a revolutionary message that involved their liberation, and possibly, like, also having a halfway decent living standard.
We, the Germans, are bringing about the great Aryan, racially pure fatherland. Who's stopping us? Race-polluting Jews. Today in America, you see it on the right and the left.
It's like, whoa, wow. I mean, this is just... First of all, I mean, it's really interesting to see that she's decided, after all, that Hitler is bad. I mean, I agree, Hitler is bad. But the last time I saw her, she was talking about how the problem with Holocaust education is that it makes you disagree with Hitler.
Yeah.
Fatherland, who's stopping us? Race-polluting Jews. Today in America, you see it on the right.
With his fucking tone, too.
And the left. On the right, it is, we white Christian Americans are bringing back white Christian civilization.
And they support Israel. They agree with you, actually. Most of them are, they say that they're for white Zionism. They admire Zionism. They're your friends.
The only thing stopping us, these Jews who are importing black and brown immigrants to replace white people. That is the bonkers Great Replacement conspiracy, which I'm like, is it more racist or more anti-Semitic? I don't know. I think it's kind of equal. And then on the left, you have, we, the great moral majority, are doing anti-racism and anti-colonialism.
Oh, wow. And she said, oh, yes, clearly anti-racism and anti-colonialism are the same thing as, like, white supremacism. Also, that's French. I don't think that people were having a demonstration with banners in French in the U.S.
Stopping us are these racist colonialist Zionists.
Who mostly aren't Jews. And nobody's saying that's the only thing that's stopping us. Like, literally nobody is saying that. Like, I can see why she feels that the only way that she can make these arguments is if her audience is not exposed to, like, literally anything but her bullshit. I mean, if I were this full of shit, I would also feel that I should, like, my audience should be kept in a fucking black box where they can only hear my voice. Because it takes, like, 5 seconds thought to realize how little sense any of this makes.
AKA Jews.
Right.
And no, not AKA Jews.
Okay, what is this? Okay, I'm just gonna try to find this actual video so I don't have to keep on skipping. Okay, let's see. So I'd like to just watch her whole thing. So that I do not have to keep on... Let me see. Okay, let me just search. Oh, here we go. This is actually from a month ago, apparently.
The thing that I think is so hard and confusing now is that we're confusing Zionism with, like, the current Israeli government.
Oh, well, I mean, you're literally saying that Zionism and Judaism are the same thing, but you're saying that the Zionist government isn't? I mean, that's the problem. We're confusing Zionism with Zionism.
Most people think it is.
I keep saying...
Well, I mean, it is. You can say that there is more than one kind of Zionism out there, although that isn't a great argument at a time when the opposition is also in favor of the genocide. And also, if she's sitting here saying that she's, like, what exactly is she against? She seems to be fine with the whole fucking carnage thing, to the extent that she feels that she can't make the argument she wants to make to people and have them be credible unless they're unaware of the facts. So, like, what does she even disagree with?
Over and over again, like, I am a Zionist.
Yeah, well, you didn't need to tell me.
Here's what that means. What that means is that I think Jews have a right to safety and security in a state in their ancestral homeland.
Which one? We have lots of ancestral homelands. We've lived in a lot of places for a very long time. Like, this is Zionism being anti-Semitic and white supremacist, because it's specifically saying that we're, like, foreigners in the places that we've lived for centuries.
And I believe they should have national independence and self-determination.
But most of us have used our self-determination to not be part of that fucking colony.
Like Japanese people have in Japan.
Well, the difference is, this is not like Japanese people have in Japan, except with the possible exceptions of the Ryukyu Islands, which the Japanese Empire conquered, and Hokkaido, which the Japanese government empire also occupied. This is a little bit like what Japan claimed in Korea.
And Latvians have in Latvia.
Well, no.
And, like, I hope Palestinians have in Palestine one day. That seems pretty real.
Except that in Palestine, The place that you're saying that Zionists should have self-determination in is Palestine.
Reasonable. And I feel this way because I
Really,
know...
wow, it's nice that she says it's reasonable that the survivors of the genocide maybe ought to have, like, some kind of self-determination someday? Wow, I mean, she's so wonderful. This is... You can see why liberal Zionism is so wonderful here.
history, and I know what happened when we ran the counter-experiment of statelessness. Holocaust, 2/3 of European Jews wiped out, but how about also in the 20th century,
Well, let's not just talk about the experiment of statelessness there, because, first of all, the Jews weren't stateless. Second of all, well, German Jews were, because they were deprived of their nationality and could not find any place that would allow them in for the most part. In part because the Zionist movement actually aggressively lobbied not to allow Jewish refugees in.
850,000 Jews who had to flee persecution in Arab lands, most to Israel.
Persecution that was instigated by Israel.
2 million Russian Jews who...
Many of whom weren't actually Jewish. Israel was just looking for fucking white Europeans so that they could make up the numbers and supplant Palestinian labor.
Led persecution in Russia, half to Israel. Tens of thousands of Ethiopian Jews. I can go on and on.
Go on about the Ethiopian Jews. Tell us a little bit about the forced sterilizations Israel did.
So I'm just not interested in rerunning that experiment because I know how it turned out. At the same time, I look at this current Israeli government and I'm appalled. I cannot stand Netanyahu. I cannot stand this coalition.
Except that you don't seem to disagree with the worst things
with many
they're
of their
doing.
policies,
But not the genocide.
The Israelis. I can hold both those things just like I'm an American who's patriotic and loves my country and can't stand Trump.
Well, except hang on a second. See, this is a thing liberal Zionists will do, especially the ones who actually don't really disagree with the worst fucking atrocities of the regime. They'll be like, oh, wow, there are things I totally disagree with. Citation needed. And then just move on.
Not hard.
It's a country.
It's a country.
I wonder if things would be different.
It's a fucking 4chan. It's 4chan with territorial sovereignty.
Instead of Israel, it was called, like, Jewland.
That would be worse. That would be worse for, like, literally everybody.
They'd be like, oh yeah, the Jews belong to Jewland.
I mean, no, please, no. Jesus Christ.
Like the Japanese belong to Japan. I feel like it would change things.
No, it really wouldn't. I mean, not for the better. I mean, that would be fucked up, actually. Like, there are already Christian Zionists who would like to sort of ethnically cleanse us from our homes and send us over to Palestine where they can kill us for not converting so that the end times happen. Like, that's definitely totally going to be improving. Great idea there. Thank you for that. Like, what we need right now, really, what would be just wonderful for the whole world is for Israel to become more explicitly identified with the majority of Jews who don't live there, many of whom really don't think very highly of that regime.
Social media campaign, Jenna Platt, you heard it first.
Hashtag Jewland.
God, I mean, do they not realize just how much that sounds like Nazi shit? Wait, okay, so that was it? Apparently that was it. Oh, no, there's more. I was gonna say.
Confusing Zionism with, like, the current...
Okay, we just saw this. So that was just a 1-minute clip.
Ethnic Jew, which, like, dude, Jews are of, like, countless different ethnicities, and ethnic Jews. What was I talking about? But I thought that was for
Well,
the
except
children.
Zionism actually rejects the idea that we're countless different ethnicities.
And what I realized is that actually all those centuries of anti-Semitism, I had internalized them. Like, they really had an effect on my Jewish soul. And not only that, they had affected our ancestors in response to that persecution over the past 100...
Wait. Is she saying she rejects the idea that there is European Jewish ethnicity?
I thought my identity growing up was freely chosen. I thought that I, as a modern, empowered Jew, was like, yeah, I'm just an ethnic Jew, which, like, dude, Jews are of, like, countless different ethnicities.
Well, yes. Okay. I mean, this is just wild because here she is actually rejecting... Does she understand that this It totally clashes with the fundamental Zionist idea that we are all one ethnicity, which doesn't make sense. I agree. That's one of the many reasons Zionism sucks.
And ethnic. What was I talking about?
Oh, you're talking about the fact that there is such a thing, because there was centuries of racialization in Europe, and that has resulted in an ethnocultural identity of European Jews. So that is actually a real thing. It is something Zionists also hate. It's what they call a negation of the exile.
That was freely chosen. And what I realized is that actually all those centuries of anti-Semitism, I had internalized them. Like they really had an effect on my Jewish soul. And not only that, they had affected our ancestors. In response to that persecution over the past 100 years, many of our ancestors kind of made a choice to try to erase themselves in order to fit in, right?
Well, except that's not... yes, that also happened, but that's not where the idea of European Jewish ethnicity comes from. That does have a lot to do with the exclusion and marginalization and persecution over the centuries, but it has to do with the fact that because of that, you get a secular Jewish identity and a near universal Jewish language within Europe, and so you get the trappings of ethnicity there.
To kind of leave behind parts of the tradition that didn't fit into the majority society, and they did so in a very understandable attempt to be safe.
Right.
I look back to Western Europe in the 1800s.
Well, in fact, the ironic thing is that literally one example of this was adopting Zionism.
Were finally allowed to be citizens of their country, where they were finally...
Which Zionism opposed.
Allowed to go to universities and have these secular jobs, and these Jews had to figure out how to be Jewish. And then I realized, if you look at the early Zionist writing, a lot of them were very negative about Jewish religion.
In fact, they were negative about Jews in general.
Negative about rabbis. Oh, these rabbis are getting us killed. They're claiming the Messiah is going to come and save us, but no, we have to save ourselves. We need to be, have it.
Of the book is, as you mentioned, it's really like a history book. You really do intense research, and you take us down the history of persecution of the Jews and where does this...
It's like, okay, you didn't tell me the truth, so now the whole
Okay, here we go.
Right?
This should be interesting.
Which I feel...
I've been trying to find stuff that's interesting, and okay, so one of the things that struck me as really remarkable in her disgusting remarks at the JFED plenary that we looked at last week and that everybody's been talking about is she's sitting here talking about how because the Jewish identity, because it is not ethno-nationalist, it is increasingly not becoming rejecting ethno-nationalism, that it's empty and it needs to be filled with something. And she just sort of says that Tikkun Olam, which means to heal the world, is out. Which is wild, because that is easily one of the proudest, oldest Jewish traditions. The idea that you should make the world better when you so that it's better than when you came into it. And she's saying that that's, to be outright rejecting that is really quite remarkable when you're trying to find some way to put a positive spin on a genocide.
It's like sort of a cop-out, not really a real explanation.
It's a little immature, right? It's like, okay, you didn't tell me the truth, so now the whole thing is bankrupt. I'm throwing out the whole thing. Whereas, a more mature thing to say is okay, you did something wrong. You really didn't tell me the truth. That is not acceptable. I'm now going to go find the truth. I'm going to go do the work, and I'm going to begin to have a mature understanding of Israel, and we have to grow up.
Oh, well, except she doesn't seem to think that. She seems to be actually saying quite the opposite. She wants to prevent people having that understanding, especially Jews having that understanding, and which is why she wants to make sure that young Jews do not have access to any information other than the sort of information she would approve.
The thing that I think is so hard and confusing now is that we're confusing Zionism with the current Israeli government.
Oh,
I
think that's what most people think it is.
I keep saying over and over again, I am a Zionist. Here's what in a state in their ancestral homeland, and I believe they should have national independence. And I hope Palestinians have in history, and I know what happened when.
Okay, I'm skipping over this because we've seen it. But she was talking about. The title of this is
the overuse of tikkun olam, and so far we're just seeing stuff we already saw.
Most to Israel. 2 million Russian Jews who fled persecution. So I'm just not interested in rerunning that experiment. I cannot stand Netanyahu. I cannot stand many Israelis. Stand Trump. Not hard.
Jewland.
Oh God, not this.
Is that throughout history, and this is actually an argument also made by David Nierberg in his book Anti-Judaism, the Western world, people have used Jews to think with, meaning they've actually used Jews to try to kind of reach this idea that are the Jews. Understand what we're empire, who's stopping us?
This
are bringing
bullshit we
back
already
brown
saw?
immigrants to replace white people. More are doing, aka Jews.
Right.
Sides here, you don't understand what's happening. It's the same thing on both sides. It just takes on slightly different, language and form. It's
Oh, well, yes, and it's a totally different thing as well.
so easy to say, well, left wing's the problem, the right wing's the problem. But if you actually look at the two of them, the tropes are kind of the same.
Right.
Yeah, especially if you just make shit up like she's doing.
The right is saying that Jews are doing a white genocide, and the left is saying they're doing a genocide.
Oh, well, no, actually, none of us are saying the Jews are doing a genocide. The U.S. and Israel are doing a genocide. And the thing is, the U.S. and Israel are doing a fucking genocide. You admit it. Every time you talk about the fact that the problem is not that there's carnage going on, but that young Jewish people know about it, and therefore they listen to you and think you're a fucking piece of shit. I mean, are aware that you're a fucking piece of shit. You're admitting that there's a genocide going on.
It's like the same, it's like very similar tropes.
No, it isn't. There's a difference between some white genocide bullshit, which it's worth noting, like, Zionists are kind of okay with. In fact, like, a lot of the people promoting that shit in South Africa are big Zionists, because apartheid, South Africa, and Israel got on very well. But no, there is a big difference between saying that there's a white genocide when there isn't, and pointing out that Israel is systematically slaughtering Palestinians, which they openly say that they're doing.
Speaking of the left, let's go there. So you talk a lot about social justice and sort of social justice Jews. Like the most overused phrase today is tikkun olam.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I wonder why so many people feel that the world needs to be healed.
And I feel like it's been sullied in its use, in the notion that, like, the primary goal of Jews is to take care of everybody who isn't Jewish and not Jews themselves.
Right.
Like, this is our excuse because it's tikkun olam.
Well, I mean, that is not actually... It's funny, because the people who are saying this are often the people who will often very much overstate the real history of, like, Jewish participation in the civil rights movement and, like, somehow take credit for that shit, when they're literally the same people who would have been objecting to that then.
I hear that a lot from anti-Israel Jews. That's why I'm an anti-Israel Jew, because of tikkun olam.
Well, I mean, yeah, we should make the world a better place. And the thing is, actually, if you listen to us a little bit more, Jonah, you'll find that a lot of us also point out that in addition to just being obviously morally right, that actually it is not good for us to have a regime that pretends to act in our name, carrying out the most depraved fucking genocide of the century.
My job is to help everyone else. Like, what the hell is that?
I know Jews.
That's called decency. It's called solidarity.
Who are deeply versed in Jewish thought and wisdom and text around social justice, and they follow those texts to do social justice in the world. I'm like, okay, that's a social justice Jew.
Oh, well, and that's a bad thing, is it?
I have a lot of respect for that. That's like
clearly
some serious Judaism. Those Jews are role models of mine.
And no, they're very clearly not, because the thing is, like, if they're role models of yours, see, I think they would also probably say that if you find that that you are speaking through a wall of carnage when you're justifying genocide, you shouldn't justify genocide.
When it sometimes takes on this form that makes me uneasy, where it's like, as a Jew who believes in social...
you're literally doing that thing. That is the form, like, your entire argument is taking.
Justice, I hold Jews to a higher standard. What are you saying?
I rarely hear anyone actually say that, it's worth noting.
Like, you're saying that we're better, that we should be held to a higher standard, and what are you saying about other people? That's at best condescending, at worst, depending on who those people are, possibly racist. Like, there's something about that just...
Well, how is that different than, like, you know, the responsibility that Jews bear with this, you know, the ethics and morals that we've been given?
We're called to live to a very high standard.
But you don't.
But I think all people should be living to high standards as they define
Like,
them
I
themselves.
mean, we've seen what her standard is. Her standard is in hell.
You know, I'm not going to say we're better than others. There's something
I mean, like, you're not. You're very clearly not.
about that kind of, like, as a Jew, I think Jews should do better. It's like, than others, I'm like, I don't know. I think other people can...
Why don't we do worse?
You know, live by high standards as well.
And it's sort of, as you say, like, that's a kind of a universal value, right? Like, do good in the world, like, do charity.
Well,
That's
yeah, I mean, what does that make that bad?
not a special Jewish idea.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the good stuff isn't particularly special. A lot of the best things are actually things that have echoes all over the place. That's kind of... that happens with good things a lot of the time. A lot of people end up having an idea if it's good.
The thing, like, Christians have a very rich tradition of social justice.
No, they don't. Not really. I mean, they have, like, there are, you know, a dissident tradition of it, yes.
Muslims, Hindus, like but it's each tradition has its own really beautiful, unique wisdom that should be studied by people in that tradition and lived out by people in that tradition.
Well,
we have that too, and the problem is, like, Jewish law and tradition operates in polarities. Where you
God. Okay. Gonna switch over. I've had enough of Sarah Hurwitz. Mouse, come on. She is best consumed in small doses, I
the
find.
thing that I think is so hard and confusing now is that
we already saw this. We don't need more of this. No.
Sarah Hurwitz.
Come on, load, will you?
Alrighty, folks. In the spirit of...
Think we'll pay another visit to Asmongold. He was saying that it's very serious that Kyle Kalinske thinks he's a dickhead, and that he must address it right now.
This guy crashed out.
And to skip ahead, we already saw a bunch of this last week.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck him.
We left off where he was saying that even he actually hates the insurance industry.
We're only 24 seconds into a 2-minute clip. I don't know if I can fucking get through this.
I'm only 3 minutes into his clip. I don't know if I can get through this either.
Yeah, I already saw this. I commented on
Go
it.
way up after it got passed. Who's having conversations, fantasizing about killing people he's running against politically, right? The difference between, like, I think that myself and people like him is that I can easily say January 6th was a bad thing. It was awful. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, but you say lots of actual bad... I mean, there are lots of bad things you say are good things.
It's bad. Like, the problem is that in a lot of cases, people... Very interesting.
He was asking politicians not to certify Joe Biden.
Yes.
That's insane. That is insane. And so they do the extreme shit. They do the crazy shit.
To be fair, this was after 4 years of them trying to delegitimize Trump's presidency by him being connected to Russia. This happened.
Well, I mean, his presidency was illegitimate, though, because he came in second to abstention.
Even before he became president, that they were trying to delegitimize him. So I don't think that...
I mean, I think he just wasn't very legitimate. I mean, just look at how unpopular he was getting in and how much people hated him once he got there. Like, when your biggest fans are asshole streamers like this, you probably have a legitimacy problem.
2020, the election there, I don't think that was the culmination of election denial. I think that it started with Donald Trump. Now,
well, I mean, it did. It did, and he was doing election denial.
in, I'd say 2012, like when was the last election? I guess 2000 was a little bit uncertain because of the hanging Chad thing with...
Motherfucker, 2012? That was 2000.
Like Gore and Bush. But overall, before...
Motherfucker, read something. Read something. Like, Gore and Bush in 2012?
For that, I mean, I feel like most elections, people pretty much accepted them. But I would say that even with denying the election, there was, remember the hashtag not my president, where people...
Well, yeah, because people hated him. I mean, that's the thing.
For saying that, oh, he's just, you know, got elected because of Russia.
Well, I mean, he got elected because the U.S. Constitution occasionally gives a participation trophy to the person who comes in second via the Electoral College. And I think it is entirely reasonable to say that anyone who, but for the Electoral College, would not be in office has absolutely no legitimacy to be in office, because that's a bullshit system. But, I mean, if you're going to start talking about bullshit systems, really you have to get into the entire electoral system, at which point you really can't say that much of it at all is legitimate, because of, like, opposition parties are basically shut out of the process.
So really, I mean, while I do say that January 6th was a bad thing, I don't think that, again, Republicans did not invent election denial. I think.
I mean, they invented lying about it.
Democrats at that point had spent 4 years doing it with...
well, they didn't deny the election, though. They didn't deny that he had been elected.
Donald Trump to begin with. And it turned out that all that, by the way, was bullshit. He will not divide us. Yep, there it is.
Like, how is that election denial, though?
But somehow...
Like, how is he will not divide us election denial? How is that the same thing as just pretending the election result was the exact opposite of what the election result was? That those aren't the same thing, Assman Goldfish.
We're the problem?
Really weird how he's celebrating ACA while also celebrating the assassination of a CEO who benefited the most from things like ACA. I don't know if he celebrated the Luigi stuff. I have no idea.
I have no idea either. And that would be a bit of a contradiction. But...
we're the ones who never fucking criticize our own? Are you kidding me? How quickly do Democrats throw each other under the bus?
Not quickly enough with Jay Jones, for example, and that one just happened. Yeah, you can go back and find an example of something stupid that happened during Obama, but I can go back a week ago and find something stupid that you guys did.
Yeah. Well, and how far would you have to go back to find something stupid that one of your favorites, something just evil? Like right now, one of your favorites is committing genocide. And the Democrats are, of course, joining him in it. But I don't see you I mean, like, the one time I've actually seen him have an opinion on that subject, he was very much a fan of it.
That's the problem.
Remember Al Franken? Al Franken was a senator. There was a picture that he took.
This.
Yeah, he sexually harassed a woman.
Like, fake grabbing somebody's titty?
No, it wasn't fake. He was fucking groping a sleeping woman.
For sleeping? That picture came out. He used to be a comedian, by the way. He didn't actually touch the woman.
He did.
Like, fake grabbing the titty and like...
And like, this is actually... No, shut the fuck up.
...at it and joking about it. He had to fucking resign.
That was good. He should have. Yeah, that was right for him to resign.
Other Democrats threw him immediately under the bus.
They should have been more consistent about that. We would have been spared Biden.
Are you out of your minds? I keep saying minds. Are you out of your mind? I mean, this is ridiculous. And he sort of defined this idea of be a bull in a china shop, never fucking apologize, always plow through.
He did apologize for the grabber by the pussy thing. He did apologize for that.
Well, like, that's all you got?
But I don't think he meant it. But he did apologize.
Well, he did okay, even you don't think he meant it, but you're still giving him credit for the apology, then? Like, what is the point of an apology if you don't mean it? Assman Goldfish.
And then eventually people just move on, and you're good. So he started that. We're just getting to the time now where Democrats are finally catching up.
I don't really think that's entirely true. I feel like Hillary Clinton said a number of bad things about Trump voters as well.
Yeah, but the thing she said, like, you can critique the phrasing, which was just weird. But, like, who talks basket of deplorables? Like, since when do deplorables come in baskets? But you can't really disagree with the underlying. It's like, of the horrible things she has said and done, literally none of them were that.
Like, it's pretty common.
Up to that, right? That's just starting to happen
I
now.
mean, they're a bunch of white nationalist shitlords. Fuck up.
And thank fucking God it is. Because here's the deal. We can only have civility and decorum if both sides agree to civility and decorum.
Well, and it's very clear, like, that civility and decorum are not on offer, and we should just stop pretending that they are.
It's that simple. As soon as the Republicans go, fuck you, then we have to say fuck you back. It's like with the gerrymandering fight.
Okay.
By the way, Asmund, who's the one that gerrymandered first? It was Texas and the Republicans that said, we're just going to gerrymander and steal a bunch
Let's
of
talk about the recent one.
Democratic seats.
I mean, there was more than one. They've been doing it a lot, actually, going back decades.
Turn them Republican.
Well, I mean, wait a minute. Stealing? Gerrymander is fundamentally fucking stealing, by the way.
Oh, well, yes. Okay, that's what he said. So you agree that sucks. Are you...
Both Democrats and Republicans do this. They've been doing this for fucking ever.
Greg Abbott did that because Trump told him to do that. And then...
True, and he should have done it. And
wait, okay, so you just said, okay. So which is it? Yeah, he just got done saying it's stealing and it's wrong and, oh, they should have done it. That's good that they did it. So, like...
all the other Republican states should do it too.
Okay. So, yeah, and what's really interesting about this is the only reason that this sort of thing is necessary, the only reason that this is their focus electorally, is precisely that they know they're in the minority, that most people don't like them, and that the only way that they can actually win anything is to suppress the vote, which Democrats help with by, like, running shitball right-wing candidates that nobody likes.
That had to happen before fucking you had Newsom step up and say, all right, if you're going to do that, then we're going to counter gerrymander in California.
Which, by the way, this is a shadow argument that he's fighting against.
A shadow argument.
I never criticized Gavin Newsom for doing that.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but you were right here sort of like...
That's not even it.
Newsom didn't start that. The Democrats didn't start that. Republicans started that. We responded in kind. Democrats...
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you guys want to do Proposition 50? That's fine.
The liberals and left are unhinged and out of control and radical, and because of that, we have been dragged into having to do the same to keep things even Stevens.
You're completely right. All of the Republican crash outs, all of the massive protests that Republicans are having, destroying, throwing bricks at people at ICE, trying to get in front of the cars.
Oh, wait, okay, so he's saying that defending people's communities from ethnic cleansing squads is the same thing as sending ethnic cleansing squads into people's communities. Of course he does. Of course he does.
Screaming at them.
Well, you're screaming at them. I'm like, well, I wonder, do they do anything to people as well? I mean, are they just walking through town minding their own business? Is that it?
Buying property. Again, going back to the BLM riots, burning down Teslas.
So what?
Killing Charlie Kirk.
Well, that was actually a Groyper, though.
I mean, there were 2 assassinations on Trump as well.
No, yeah, both of them by right-wingers, which is why you never hear about them anymore.
Or at least attempt. I mean, at what point do you really... I mean, how long can this go on for, guys? How long can...
Well, I mean, as long as you can make shit up, I guess.
Just keep making up bullshit. The ICE attacks. Yeah, exactly. What is going on with this?
Well, people are defending their communities from white supremacist gangs. That's a good thing. I mean, I know that it makes you shit your pants, Aspen Goldfish, because you're a white supremacist who's even more cowardly than those assholes. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens when communities come under attack. They defend themselves.
Because If they're going to gerrymander and we say we're not going to do it on principle, then they just win
Nobody said that. Nobody. This is the argument that I never made.
everything, period, as far as the eye can
Yeah.
see. In a very weird way, once the other side starts cheating, in order to make it more fair, you also have to start cheating. Once they start being insane, to keep it fair, you also have to be equally insane in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Well, I mean, ableism aside, I'm not even sure what that actually means in this particular context.
I mean, but let's be honest, Kyle.
What? You're going to start being honest now, are you?
You guys were going to be insane no matter what.
Really?
It might be convenient that Republicans do some things that are insane, but you...
Oh, yeah, some.
We're going to be insane anyway, all right?
Like, for example.
Let's be real.
Like if
Well, I mean, okay, be real. Give us an example.
Only way to do it.
What are you talking about?
He flips it and pretends like it's the Democrats who are totally unhinged, and that makes
Policy decision that's like very unhinged that makes people radical.
also.
Well, I think if you want to talk about a policy decision
Oh, he's
that's
giving
like
an
very
example.
unhinged that makes people radicalized, I think that a good example of that is the trans in sports.
Oh, except, no. That actually is not something that is of particular interest to most people. And one of the ways you can tell is that trans people have been eligible to participate in sports for literal decades, and nobody said shit about it. Now, Nazi fuckers like him have decided to pretend that it's a new thing, because they have to pretend that it's a new thing. They have to pretend that it's a new thing, because otherwise they have to acknowledge that it's never caused a problem.
So, especially also like trans kids using bathrooms.
Wow, that is so unhinged. Kids being allowed to use bathrooms.
Now, you can make an argument that this isn't really a big issue, but
I mean, it is if you're trans and you're trying to survive.
It's not a big issue, then why are you fighting it so much?
Because it's a big issue for the people you're trying to attack with this bullshit.
So I think that that's a radicalization issue that does affect average people, that makes people
How
think
does it
that
affect average people? Most people don't even notice.
Democrats are ideologues and disconnected from reality.
Democrats aren't even defending trans people, though.
If you're trying to make an argument that, for example, biological men should compete with biological women in sports.
No, nobody's actually making that argument. They're saying trans women should be able to continue to compete with cis women in women's sports because it's literally never caused a problem before.
Especially in, high school sports or middle school sports, you're really kind of...
Actually, the lower the grade level, the more absurd the argument gets. Because, I mean, you get to middle school and below, you're talking about, like, prepubescent. So to the extent that there's any actual theoretical advantage, which would be stopped if, like, trans kids had access to puberty blockers, which they're being denied by people who want them to die. And then there's really no argument against it, because...
In my opinion, that argument is of the same validity of flat Earth.
Wow, so the existence of trans people who do exist, who like physically exist, you can point to them. They have mass. Trans people have mass. You can you can measure their existence. People have. That's the same thing as flat Earth.
This is a flat Earth argument. So if a person...
what this means is like literally the entire relevant scientific community. He's calling flat earthers.
Gives an argument like that, it is so radical and so extreme and so devoid of any logic, rationality, biology, science.
Well, I mean, if Asmongold says he doesn't understand the biology of something, then I mean, you know that there's got to be a scientific problem because he is fucking rigorous.
In common sense.
I mean,
that
he keeps a rotting dead rat in his room as an alarm clock. Clearly, he's the person to talk about these things.
You have to assume that this person's mental facilities are compromised, and you can't trust other things that they're going to say.
Facilities.
That's the big difference. And so I think he's using examples of policy things, and the examples he used were bad. But
okay, I just noticed the time. It is time to wrap up for tonight. Thank you to everyone who joined in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I will be back tomorrow at 11:30 p.m. US Eastern